Good morning to one and all present here. I am Ramya Devi, working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering. Today I am going to share a small article regarding the fundamental HTML elements. So what is an HTML element? An element is an individual component of an HTML document. It represents the semantics or meanings. For example, title element represents the title of the document. So P, the paragraph of an document, and then the image of a document. So the element itself represents the type of information in the HTML document. So HTML tag, so it is used to mark the start or end of an element. So these are the common HTML elements, the headings H1 to H6. So H1, like H1, the size of your text will be varied. So from H1 to H6, so H6 will be displayed as the smallest size of your heading. And then paragraph, which identifies the blocks of paragraph text. So most browsers place a line break and a blank line between paragraphs. Paragraphs may contain text, images and other inline elements. It may not contain headings, lists, sections, elements or any element that typically displays as a block by a default. So here it is a first paragraph, the second and then the third paragraph. So next is your pre-formatted text. So PRE is an HTML element for pre-formatted text. Use PRE to retain format of text and display using monospace font. So like for any embedded markup is still treated as a markup. Monospace font is also called as fixed pitch, fixed width or a non-proportional font. It's a font whose letters and characters each occupy the same amount of horizontal space. So next, so this is an example of a pre-formatted text. So next is the BR, line break is an example of an empty element which does not have a closing tag. So here the paragraph, inside the paragraph we uses the line break for displaying the text sentence in next lines. So line breaks are inserted at each BR element. So these are called as an empty elements, which allows two syntactic representation of an empty element. So empty tag syntax is recommended for browser compatibility. XML parsers also recognize syntax and start tag followed immediately by end tag, but many browsers do not understand this for empty elements. So next HTML element is span. So text can be formatted in various ways. So we have to apply the style sheet technology to a span element, use a phrase element or a use a font style element. So not recommended but frequently used is the element like B for bold space, I for italic, TT for teddy type, big for increased font size and small for decreased font size. So next is the HR element, which is used as a horizontal rule, which also an empty element. Style can be modified using a style sheet technology. And next is the attributes. So additional information to the HTML elements is called as an attribute, so which has a tag name and then a value. So for example, image img src is equal to corgi.png is img is the HTML element, src is the attribute name and then the corgi.png is the attribute value for that name. So next is the p class is equal to selected and then class is your attribute name and selected is your value. So href, so A is an HTML element used for hyperlinks. Href is the attribute name and which gives the value of the hyperlink to be clicked. And then these are all the images can be embedded using img element. For example, img source awesome landing page images play.png, so that we have to give the full path of an image and then they alternate for that image. So if the image is not available, so we have to give an alternate text or alternate image for that image. And then the height and width, which are also an attribute attribute of your img, and then the 120 pixel and is the value for that attribute called height and width. And style is also an attribute name which gives the attribute value like float : right. So next common HTML element is A. It is also called as an anchor tag used for hyperlinks. So the source hyperlink anchor is the from link activated by the href attribute. So the destination anchor is the to link activated by the name attribute, which is often called as named anchor. So and also we are going to see the nesting elements. If one element is nested with another element, then the content of the inner element is also the content of the outer element. So HTML requires that elements be properly nested. So most HTML elements are either block or inline. So block means the browser automatically generates the line breaks for the element content. For example, like paragraph H1 to H6 or pre-formatted text. An inline element content is added to the flow like bold, italic, big, small, teletext, strong, break, span or examples of an inline elements. Thank you.